All right, I do want to talk about Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings because
sure.
this is starting to come up to be a major talking point, especially as they get closer and closer to the postseason. They're coming in at 11-2. Darnold just had 5 touchdowns on Sunday against that Falcons secondary. That is the Falcons secondary. Where are you at for what the Vikings do?
Pay him.
Pay him. So you're on the pay him because you have JJ McCarthy, of course.
I would cut JJ and just pay Sam.
All right. Well,
fuck JJ McCarthy. That's where I'm at if I'm Kevin O'Connell. Yeah.
The Vikings actually wanted Super Bowl.
Young whippersnapper out of here. No, it's See, we talked a little bit about this though on Monday. And I said you could put feelers out there for if there's any trade interest for a JJ McCarthy. Here's what's tough with Darnold, okay? He's playing very well for the Vikings. He's reaching his potential.
Yep.
And I think Shannon Sharp talked about like quarterbacks are in this weird spot where they can make an insane amount of money off of one good season.
Correct.
Right? So the question, if you're a different team and you're asking about Sam, if we pay this man, is he actually going to elevate us as a football team? And there are plenty of teams he could go to that don't have the talent that the Vikings have on offense, and they don't have the leadership / play calling ability that KOC has. Kevin on the call, not Cock. I am keeping Cock out of my mouth, Tom. It is KOC, Kevin on the call. So I don't know if Sam Darnold is a guy where if he goes to a different team, if he raises that entire offense to the level that you want if you're paying that kind of money for him.
Sure.
So Sam's best option is to stay in Minnesota, get paid by the Vikings, and continue to play there because he knows the offense now. He's building chemistry with the team. Like, that makes sense for him moving forward. But when you have the guy you drafted, what do the Vikings do? Do you go with the mystery that is that young quarterback? Do you pay do you say, Sam, we'll give you a 3-year deal. You're gonna make $100+ million on this deal, whatever, $150+ million. We will pay you. We're gonna keep JJ here. You're the starter moving forward, and we'll deal with the situation after 3 years. That makes the most sense. Vikings pay him, keep him. But then you're running into other guys you got to pay. The flexibility you have with JJ is you can continue to pay all those other guys if you're confident. And we only have one game with JJ. It was a preseason game. He looked great. Can he come in and do the same thing? I don't know.
I think that there's a couple things that you said there. Yeah, because we talked about that a little bit on Monday. And like if Sam Darnold went, I'm not even saying out on Will Levis, but like let's just say he went to the Titans. I don't think Sam Darnold is having the season that he is, right? No. Because of everything you just talked about, and also the offensive line being improved in Minnesota that took them years to do.
He could go to the Bengals. Sam Darnold could go to the Bengals and have the same offensive success.
Well, the offensive line might be a little problematic for Darnold, but yes, I understand. And I think that you're right in terms of if you can get Sam Darnold for a 3-year deal and you have an out after 2, right? And like oh God, I don't even know what's his like legit. What's his market value now? Is it $50 million? Is he going to get paid like 50, like probably 150, like 3-year, $150 million deal?
Yeah,
like that's probably what we're looking at. The thing is, your window also with Aaron Jones. Are you going to bring back Aaron Jones? Like, what's going to go on with that? He's getting a little bit older and capitalizing because there's 2 things at work. There's the chemistry that you're alluding to and the success that the Vikings have had this season at 11-2 that you want to keep that together because if that's your window, then you go, okay, we got to try and make the most out of this window. The problem, like you said, is with JJ, you don't know what you have in him. So if you let Sam Darnold walk and JJ's not that good, there is going to be that what could have been, right? Or 2, if you keep Sam Darnold and he does turn into a pumpkin and it doesn't work out, then it's gonna be like, well, now we just paid him a whole lot of money. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I am admitting them the purple incarnation of Satan, removing myself from the NFL and going into isolation. But that's neither here nor there. If I'm the Vikings, I think that I'm just rocking with JJ. I think you draft. I do. I think you're rocking with JJ. I'm going to be very honest with you, Brandon. I would be elated if the Vikings gave a big contract to Sam Darnold. As a Packers fan, I would be elated.
Wow. Ballsy thing to say.
I do. I think that Sam Darnold has had himself a really, really nice season. I think committing to him long term and tying up a good amount of money in him, I don't know if that's the best move for the Minnesota.
I think if he plays well in the playoffs, you gotta keep that man.
That's the caveat. If this guy is able to win him a playoff game or two, then it's a completely different story. Got to see how they finish the season. Got to see how they finish it.
He's coming. He's been better than Kirk Cousins.
Oh, well, that's a very low bar. And again, like I'm not crapping on Sam Darnold. I'm saying I think in terms of elevation, I'd feel confident that the Vikings wouldn't win a Super Bowl. And again, I feel like I'm just holding back the tides of evil, and everything else can happen. But as long as they don't win a Super Bowl, we're okay. I don't know if they win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. You can clip that. That would happen. I'm not even trying to throw shade at him.
I think you can say that about every team.
Sure. But I'm talking specifically about
going to win with Josh Allen. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they have a better shot than the Vikings with Sam Darnold. Yeah, the Bills with Josh. I think Josh Allen, because you talk about elevation all the time, and I think that Josh Allen is the guy that elevates the talent around him, what have you. And again, I'm not dragging Sam Darnold down. I think though, when you have a quarterback with not a lot of room, because let's take Jordan Love, right? Because all the criticism of Jordan Love that the Packers gave him a huge contract after playing one season, right? Are you going to give a huge contract to Sam Darnold or Jordan Love after that one season? I feel more comfortable in Jordan Love in terms of just ceiling and what you've seen.
Sure, but you're saying that before we've got 4 more games with Darnold and playoffs.
Accurate.
Love played well in the playoffs. That's what
Correct.
really sold, I think, everybody on Love.
That last 4 or 5 game stretch was really,
I think
really
the playoffs are important for him. I think the Vikings, they have not made a decision, right, on what they want to do. If you're the Vikings, you're just talking to Kevin O'Connell about this and his honest, it's a conversation between KLC and the Vikings GM.
Yeah.
How much do you believe in Sam Darnold, Kevin? That's the only question you need answered. And you can be in a I think what's funny, Tom, is the Vikings are actually in the spot we thought the Falcons would be in.
Accurate.
Yeah. And the Falcons are probably how quickly can we actually move on from Kirk Cousins because his decline is real. We've got a guy we did draft. We do want to see what Penix has out there, but it's not a bad thing to pay pay Darnold and just keep JJ around.
Sure.
We thought JJ would be sitting this year anyway. So
accurate.
The Vikings were prepared for this situation, I think, to some extent. Hey, we like Darnold. He could come in and play very well for us. And if he does that, then we're going to have to, rethink, maybe our plan for the next couple of years.
I just saw a Vikings fan in the chat and was saying this is kind of similar to the Case Keenum thing. Yes. Yeah. Back then I was saying keep Case Keenum because he was going to be cheap. He was not going to command a ton of money, and he went to the NFC Championship with him. But instead, they went out and got Kirk Cousins, and you could go back and watch. When they signed Kirk Cousins and gave him $84 million, I was the happiest person ever because I was like, I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. And I like Kirk Cousins a lot.
But they got better. Kirk Cousins was better than Case Keenum. So
correct.
They made the right decision.
But, I don't know because, again, they were able to make it there with Case Keenum. I think that if you built the supporting cast around him more, then you get a quarterback.
Case Keenum. I watched. I was so excited to get Case Keenum.
I'm just saying, but I was very happy. So this is what the Vikings are saying. We all know Sam's going to be sought after type guy from wherever that may be. That's the OC, Wes Phillips. Whatever his future ends up being, I know all of us in the building are going to be happy for him no matter where that ends up being. I don't think he has to worry about that anymore. That doesn't sound like they're oh yeah, we're going to bring him back. I think the Vikings, unless he balls out and wins them multiple playoff games, I don't think that because they did just get rid of Kirk Cousins, they were not willing to pay him the amount of money. I don't think they're going to do the same thing with Sam Darnold. I don't. I don't think that they're going to pay him when they have a young guy that they just spent draft capital on and be okay,
Yeah, but I think you could, like, if you're worried about the draft capital, I think you could recoup that by getting rid of JJ.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I get them not bringing him back unless he is great in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every game he wins in the postseason, that decision gets harder and harder. Unless, like, I mean, the last guy you're probably comping him to, honestly, is Nick Foles, right? So it becomes a question of people who are smarter about football than you and I in terms of an actual X's and O's sort of thing. Like, are there things Sam's doing that we don't see that are bad or flawed still? And it's like, oh, he's being carried by some elite talent. Or is he actually doing all those things perfectly? And they're like, yeah, let people keep thinking we're not going to bring him back.